Hello, and welcome to Soda Review Channel, where today we'll be talking about Mello Yello, the only mass-produced soda named after a dildo. Specifically, we'll be talking about Mello Yello Zero Sugar, and I promise, I will explain that joke. So, Mello Yello itself, the overarching flavor, was released in 1979 by the Coca-Cola Company to compete with PepsiCo's Mountain Dew as a citrus flavored caffeinated soft drink as opposed to a citrus flavored uncaffeinated soft drink like Sprite or Fanta. Orange Fanta grapes are not citrus. Very important to remember that. It will be on the test. So, Mello Yello was named after a song called Mello Yello, with double U's in both of those words, by Scottish singer and songwriter Donovan, a folk musician. And yeah, that song is in reference to a sex toy that he saw an advertisement for, some vibrating thing shaped like a banana called the Mello Yello. Isn't that fun? Yeah, so a couple years later, um, in apartheid South Africa, Mello Yello got associated with the apartheid police because they had yellow police cars, which I would say is unfair to the Coca-Cola Company, but they were very supportive of the apartheid regime and one of the biggest employers in the country at the time. Anyway, Mello Yello Zero Sugar. It came out as a zero sugar option in 2010, and it got the same rebranding in 2015 to this kind of gamer edgy MY branding because it's my Mello Yello. But it can be yours too if you go get some. Let's crack this open. Oh my god. Doesn't that just look like such a healthy flavor to have in your body? Is that fluorescent? I wish I had my blacklight with me. Hm. No, I'm sure it's not. It smells sweet. I can say it smells sweet. Let's see what you're sweetened with. Got some aspartame. Got some citric acid. Always gotta love some citric acid in a citric soda. Ace K. Sucrose acetate isobutyrate. Interesting. Got some medium chain triglycerides in here, so you know it's gonna be good. Hmm. That is pretty citric. That's tasty. I mean, it's neon gamer liquid. I mean, you can't say anything bad about it. Sure, it'll rot your teeth, except this is zero sugar, and I'm not a dentist, so I don't know what artificial sweeteners do to your teeth. So, I mean, it's acidic as well, so it's not great for your teeth, definitely. It's not just the sugar in soda. But yeah, there's like sweetness mostly on top with like a kick of something citric underneath it, and it's just vague, undefined citrus. Not like, oh, this tastes like an orange, or this tastes like lime juice. I would know. I drink as much lime juice as I'm allowed to, just straight from the lime. Okay, I sometimes mix it into my Diet Coke. Don't judge me. You know, a few years back, everyone was wanting the 1990s citric caffeinated soda to return, Surge. And don't get me wrong, when they did bring it back eventually a few years ago, I quite enjoyed it. It was a really good soda from Coca Cola. But I so wish they would bring back Vault. It was another soda from a few years later, early 2000s to early 2010s. That was also a citric flavored caffeinated soda, and it just had a really unique taste that I miss. I would very much want to have more of that. Hmm. It was branded more as an energy soda, so it's kind of like got branding more like an energy drink, but it's just a soda. It doesn't have much more caffeine or anything. Surge was kind of branded like that too, but more in the radical 90s persuasion than in the 2000s Monster Energy persuasion. But if I'm not mistaken, Vault was discontinued because Coke bought Monster Energy and then kind of quietly let their not quite an energy drink die, so it didn't compete with their actual energy drink, which I'm not much a fan of corporate calculus, so bring back Vault. Mellow Yellow, though. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I do like very citric things. I'm not a huge fan of super sour flavors, but this is a nice balance. It's not like a gummy worm or anything where it's just coated in that powdered acid. But it's tart, it's tasty. It, of course, tastes entirely synthetic. Not that the ingredients they use are necessarily just artificial, but synthetic in that way that everything's measured to the microgram and each ingredient is perfectly balanced so that it gives you the perfect feeling of this is exactly what it says it is every single time. And that's not a knock against it. Sometimes you just want something that tastes completely synthetic, like it was carved out of the finest plastics. Okay, don't eat plastic. But it tastes very cookie cutter in a very good way, I think. That is still radioactive green, even with so little in the can, in the cup. Honestly, props to them for the dye in this. That's impressive. Overall, I give that a good.